And now, from the Marquee Media Studio inside Mark Tank, it's the Mark Haney Show.
Yes, this is the Mark Haney Show on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in the hometown we love. And today I'm super excited because we're going to be bringing on high school students. These are participants that came through our Roseville Rising Program, and it ended with a big event called Mark Tank for high school students, and it was a blast, and it's really, really inspiring. So today's show is going to be very inspiring because you're going to listen to high school students that are actually building real companies right here in our region. It's going to be great, but we got to get to the J is L question of the week. J is L, again, is Natoma's wealth, and if you're going to create some wealth, you need to have a plan for what you're going to do with it. So here is my J is L question of the week. Jay, what are implications of tax on the total return?
Yeah, so we think through the idea of total return, especially when we think about the tax implications of total return. You know, there's two ways to grow grow an asset. It's either cash flow that you receive by giving it to somebody else to invest in something, real estate, public markets, whatever it might be. And then it's the growth, the appreciation of value. And so as you think through the idea of, again, the example of somebody exiting through a transaction, and they've now got this these separate buckets or silos they've invested in. How does silo number one create growth versus silo two? What are the tax implications of that? How do I receive it? How do I make sure it continues to grow? So thinking through the exercise of, like your comment earlier about mobile home parks, if I invest in that, I'm going to get some extra tax benefit that I can maybe use to offset direct investment in a logistics warehouse or this piece of residential property that I own. So really going through that exercise, and again, going back to, I keep harping on this, but that cohesive team, making sure that one, tax is on board with strategy overall, thinking through the exercise of where am I going to have tax exposure from income or growth, and then two, assets are owned properly, so either in trust structures, in corporate structures like LLCs, where I have protections and things like that. So as you get into the idea of a much more complicated balance sheet allocation, you want to make sure all of those things are considered.
So fired up today to be joined by a unique group of people. We are actually joined today by high school entrepreneurs that have come through the Roseville Rising Program for entrepreneurs that are in high school, and I can tell you today you are going to be inspired. So to help kick off and help us understand, our audience understand what Roseville Rising is all about, I've got my good buddy Murshad Mansouri. He helped bring this group together along with my co-founder in the Growth Factory, Monique Brown. Murshad, how you doing?
I'm good, Mark.
Okay. Good. Well, thanks for joining. Maybe we just talk maybe a little bit of your background. You had GoPro, Techstars. You've done some big stuff in the past. And maybe just a little bit of that.
All right. I mean, you just took that intro and, that's
butchered it.
Yeah, that's on my entire life. That's my entire life, basically. Been in tech 25 years. Started when I was in high school. Sold computers out of my garage. Dropped out of college. Went back to college. Worked in all facets of business, from PR to sales to a little bit of development, operations, finance. And then the last two legs of my life have been more in the partnerships and corporate development realms. So a lot of clients in the blue chip, like the Microsofts, the Googles, the design within reach. But I definitely, cut my teeth in the last 10 years, some of the big corporates.
So you brought this group together along with Monique Brown, as we discussed, which to me it's amazing how far they came in such a short period of time. And I think it's interesting to think about, if people have access to minds like yours and Monique's and the others that you brought in, what's possible. And so you're going to hear today a little bit about what's possible, but maybe you could talk to us about what that 16 weeks looks like and what actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. This was definitely Monique's brainchild. Without her, we would not have the folks in the room here. She put together the, bare curriculum as to what it was we're trying to achieve over the next 16 weeks. She basically brought all these kids together, and I was the border collie, if you will, just herding them and running around them and making sure they were on track for the most part. I'm looking at some of the kids that I had to definitely tighten around. I call them the chuckleheads, but definitely had a bunch of good activities coming out of the 16-week program. And the thesis was, how do we get a very big, very monolithic problem that's facing the world today, and how do we just keep on cracking away at it? How do we chip away at it like a sculptor trying to build something out of marble into bringing it to form some sort of solution that they can actually build to slowly tackle those big problems? So we thought big in terms of what are some challenges that we're seeing around us with what I call soft eyes, and how do we take a prescriptive approach to making a solution that is within our capabilities, something that these kids are familiar with, want to do, and bring to course with a business plan, a business idea. So we spent a lot of time in design thinking, and the whole notion of how do you think differently? How do you think like a designer? The soft eyes approach that I mentioned is like, look around you at any given time. There may be something that you may not be aware of because you're so myopic and so focused on your day to day. So how do you take that soft eye approach, and how do you see the problems around you, and how do you look within and see the capabilities that you have? And also, how do you look to your side and see the capabilities of your partners on your team and the resources available through folks like you and folks like the Growth Factory, and bring, a problem down to something manageable, a real solution. So we kind of cover the conceptual up front. We had them do really fun exercises involving paper, spaghetti, marshmallows. What else did we have, guys? Macaroni. And then we got to the nitty gritties of, all right, what is the business plan?
Yeah.
What is go to market?
Well, they built businesses, and we're going to get them up in a minute. But okay, just one last question before we introduce our first entrepreneur. They pitched at the end of the 16 weeks at an event called Mark Tank, and I tell you, I saw what they had achieved, and it brought tears to my eyes. I had to look away, and then I saw you over there talking to them almost like a proud father, right? And I walked back there, and I'm like, I can't believe what I just saw, right? High school students building actual businesses. A lot of them are tech companies, and just blown away when you see this imagination come to life. When you see greatness actually happening before your very eyes, you're like, whoa. Well, we're going to hear some of that greatness today. But what was your emotion after you saw them actually deliver at Mark Tank?
Yeah, I don't have kids, and definitely teaching some of these guys, I don't want to have kids. But I think the feeling that I had was, I was overwhelmed with what I saw. 3 weeks before the Mark Tank, we had them do dry runs, and I was impressed, totally impressed by the dry runs. These kids, I shouldn't call them kids, these guys and gals, they basically outperformed a lot of the companies that I was looking at for acquisition when I worked in corporate development at GoPro, or when I was helping some of our founders find homes at Techstars. And, they definitely had the excitement of first-time founders. They're doe-eyed, they're just seeing the world for the first time. They don't have that sense of, regular business as usual, going to a pitch, try to get something out of it. They were excited. They were genuinely excited, and that showed. And they continued to refine, they continued to test their messaging into the second week of practice before Mark Tank. And it just, exceeded my expectations even more. And then we had office hours where I would get on the phone or Zoom with them up until 11 at night leading up to Mark Tank. And, it's
That's
always
past
the last...
their bedtime, isn't it? I mean, they're in high school.
That's 3 hours before my bedtime, actually.
I meant their bedtime.
Yeah, their bedtime. I'm surprised. Yeah, they're up to midnight. And when they went to Mark Tank, it's I had a little bit of hesitancy in terms of how they were going to articulate their solutions, and I say this without hyperbole, every single one of the teams just blew me away. And what I told some of the folks was, when I was working in Corp Dev, we would see companies try to pitch themselves. They had bankers come in and they try to pitch themselves for sale. They wanted to say, why should we join GoPro? Why should we sell to X company when other Techstars? And their business modeling was not as concise or as strong as some of these guys in the Mark Tank, exhibited. So I would classify these guys and gals in the top 25% of the founders that I've worked with over the last 10 years. So.
It's really incredible that what they did. Well, let's get to that now, because you too. Well, I'm the old man. You're the
old.
You're not old. You're old enough. Yeah, you're not. I think, well, one thing too is I think our imagination decreases as we get older. You know, as an older guy, I think some of what you don't have the imagination that these young people have, and so it's really being able to tap into that is super
For
fun.
sure.
Okay, so our first guest. So we have some of the winners. There was actually a 3-way tie for first place, and then there was an elevator pitch competition as well. That was like prior to Mark Tank. And so one of the winners. So we're going to talk about some of the winners a little bit, but let's get to know them. The first one is Sophia. Sophia, welcome. You are Enviro. You guys won the elevator pitch. You were also one of the 3 winners of Mark Tank. Randomly, it was a 3-way tie, and we had a lot of judges, and I don't know how it became a 3-way tie, but it did. And I think the person I gave the high score isn't even here today, but
I'd like to know who that was.
Yeah,
Off mic, of course.
I don't know exactly, but
By the way,
there was
all of
other
them.
good ones, is my point.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
So, Sophia, let's get to know you a little bit. How did you tell us about your idea? And actually, where would you rather? Let's get to know you first. Let's start with you. What school you go to?
I go to Roseville High School.
You go to Roseville High, and how did you find out about this? And maybe just tell us a little bit about your experience going through Roseville Rising.
So I personally didn't know a lot about it. My dad kind of found it on Facebook one night as we were watching TV, and he was like, "Hey, this is a cool idea." And I was like, "Oh yeah, it is." And so I signed up for it, and I wasn't hopeful that I'd get in, or I was hopeful I'd get in, but I wasn't expecting to because I'm a sophomore, and when arriving I found that I was the only sophomore here.
Oh wow.
But I did get waitlisted at first. I think it was because of my grade, but throughout the process I actually learned so much about not only like entrepreneurship, but like the ideas and creativity as a person, and I actually found out that this is the career path I want to go down. So that's pretty helpful for me, and it was just a great opportunity. I learned so much, and it gave me more opportunities like the startup challenge and other stuff like that as well.
That's exciting. Okay, so do you want to try? You won the elevator pitch. Do you want to try it on us right now? What do you think? Are you prepared?
It's been a couple weeks, but I'll go ahead and.
All right. So the elevator pitch is like a 1-minute pitch on your business. So take it away, Sophia.
So we are Enviro. We're local supporting local. We support local by creating sustainable bags to kind of replace the plastic bags used in fashion in-store places. We have 2 types of bags, the seed paper bag and the tote bag. The seed paper bag is kind of in place of the one-time use plastic bags that get thrown into the landfills and into the oceans. Basically, after you use it, you tear it up, throw it in your backyard, and it will grow wildflowers. And then we also have the tote bag, which is made out of a coffee ground material, usually from the big companies that throw all those coffee grounds away. So the brand we're planning on partnering with was actually Singtex, which partnered with Starbucks. And this isn't like an original idea of creating sustainable packaging. So we kind of had to create something that made us different. So we looked outside the Venture Lab window and saw We Are Roseville, and we kind of took that local moment and kind of thought about how we can connect local artists with the local business community. And we figured out that we could create just a connection there and have the local artists featured on the bags.
Wow, just looking out the window inspired one of your differentiations, right? You got this environmental bag, and you look out the window and you're inspired at some level by the We Are Roseville, and now you can have a local bag with local branding that makes you feel like it's tied to your home.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
What was the biggest challenge in I guess bringing this together?
I think we had a lot of good opportunities to give us knowledge, but it was kind of hard. I think it was the differentiating part because there were other people trying to do what we did, not specifically with the local artists, but with the sustainable packaging, and it is more expensive. And I think the hardest part was probably going to get customer validation from the businesses, because as a business, you want to save as much money as possible and be profitable, and the bags that we are selling are a little more expensive. So it's kind of harder for them to get to that point where they'd be willing to switch.
What's the plan for the business at this point? Is it gonna fade away and it was just a cool school project, or is it gonna have a life?
Since I'm still in high school, I think it would be pretty fun to continue, but Felina and Sophia, my co-founders, they're both going off to college like all around California, so it'd be kind of hard with putting in money because they're going to be college students, and I have a job, but I don't make that much money. So
Where's your job?
I work at Revolution's Naturopathic right now. It's right next to Lazy Dog. It's natural medicine. Yeah.
Sophomore in high school, and you already have a job.
Yeah, let me also. She's being super humble here, which is also a quality I like in people. But I was invited to judge a startup SAC competition about 3 weeks ago, a startup weekend. 3 months ago, 3 weeks ago, time flies. And surprisingly, Haley, who we'll talk to in a bit, and Sophia were presenting. And Sophia got up there, and they had 48 hours to bring an idea together with strangers, people they didn't know, and they managed to, in the course of 48 hours, put together a presentation on a unique problem and presented a unique solution, not Enviro, something completely different. And they nailed it out of the park. They got first place. Like, just Sophia, for her age, was articulate. She, demonstrated with clarity. She demonstrated with conviction. And, she was unwavering in believing, that this is something that she could do. And I think that was just like, okay, great. This is probably a sign of things to come for Roseville Rising, and they all exceeded expectations. But, that's a testament to these folks here doing way more than just this activity to prove they can be leaders in the future. Yeah. And they don't need to do business. They don't need to go into marketing. They don't need to go into whatever. They just need to know how to tackle problems on their own, how to get that confidence they need.
That is so cool. Well, thank you. You're an inspiration, but we have more inspiration yet to come. We have the gentlemen who have built Rental Bay. And so why don't I have you guys introduce yourselves each, and then we'll talk a little bit about your experience in the program, and then we'll go into maybe an elevator pitch, or you can tell us about the company.
Cool. I'm Hudson.
I'm Michael.
I'm Prahlad.
Well, welcome, guys. You were one of the 3 winners. And Hudson, you got up and you delivered a presentation that I think blew away a lot of the judges and a lot of the audience. Maybe, but before we get into that, why don't you tell us, maybe each of you, a little bit about your experience going through the Roseville Rising Program, and who did you like better, Monique or Mershad?
Nope.
No. Yeah, so we were originally, me and Michael, we kind of went through this together because we were originally part of DECA. Haley was the president of that, and that's how we even heard about this in the first place.
Okay, what's president of DECA? What's that?
Oh, it's this business club, like high school business club thing.
Okay.
You join it, and they compete in business competitions. And we joined that looking to explore business, and we heard about this through them, and we both applied, and we both got in, and that's where we showed up, and then 16 weeks have been amazing. It's been an amazing journey.
What was the highlight?
Probably the pitch, or at least for me. I mean,
What was the feel? Were you a lot of adrenaline? Were you nervous?
I was so nervous. I was so anxious going up there, but after I was finished, it was amazing.
Oh, you knocked it out of the park. Yeah. Okay, how about you?
I mean, the overall thing was pretty just awesome experience. I learned a lot. We learned a ton about the question. Okay,
nope.
well,
who do you like more?
Nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Okay, so
nope. We don't play favorites, you guys.
Both pretty good. Both pretty good. Okay.
So much.
Both were, they gave us a lot of help and resources when we asked them to, and we just we learned a ton with the different the steps to make a complete business plan from the idea to the pitch, and I think we did. I think we managed it well, and yeah.
Yeah, that was great. Prahlad?
Yeah. Okay. So first off, I have to give a shout out to my dad. He's the one who brought me here. He was one of the first ones to sign up for this program. He saw it on Facebook. The next minute, he called me. I was at my volleyball practice, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to sign up for this entrepreneurship program?" And at the time, that was when I wanted to do business. And I was thinking how to explore, and I only knew the niche parts of business. I didn't know much, so no, I was like, "Yeah, why not? Let's go for it."
And then so the 16 weeks have been really great. I learned all the like basics, and I learned more advanced working with my friends. Both go to my school.
What school you guys go to?
Granite Bay.
Granite Bay. Oh yeah, you guys had the teachers. There's a woman that in the audience that teaches at Granite Bay. Yeah. I thought it was great that we had. There was an audience at Mark Tank, and there were actually a few teachers that I mean, to me, I was really inspired by that. Having my teachers wouldn't have showed up for something for me when I was a kid, so that was pretty inspiring.
Yeah, and also like I learned so much about this. Like I learned how to do go-to-market plan. I knew how to find good target market, how to like find good market opportunities, like how to develop and like how to like use market penetration, all these different strategies. That would definitely help me later on my path as being an entrepreneur.
Was there a low light? Was there a down part that was really you didn't enjoy?
Well, we did actually have to pivot once, I believe, right? More than once. More than once. That. Other than that, then I think everything was good.
That's pretty normal pivoting, right, Rashad?
Yeah,
we see pivots in very mature companies end up having to pivot. So
yeah, I mean, it's embrace the pivot is what we try to let them know.
Yeah.
Like it's not a sunk cost. It's something that you have the ability, you have the skills. There's no reason why you can't go somewhere else. These guys, though, I'll be fully transparent. I call them chuckleheads for a reason, because it's 4 dudes. And all they did, throughout the working session every week was shadowbox, play chess on their phones, get on TikTok and Instagram. And I was like, dudes, come on. But, you admit that. But they came through
the modern workplace. You got to have these stimulus from other areas.
No, but I was, thoroughly impressed when they went into their 2 weeks before the pitch and they realized, all right, customer personas are important. Go-to-market plans are important. Actually having a revenue model is important, even though this was a big simulation and there was no real money involved. It's good to think about those important aspects of running a business. There's actual dollars associated with it. So they came through and I call them the pizza eaters also, because they used to come to the tables.
Nicknames, aren't you, Rashad?
Well, yeah, some of the nicknames, it's a good way of building the affinity.
Yeah, well. All right, so we want to know about this business because you're one of the winners, and there's a rumor that that it might actually turn into something. I don't know about that rumor, but if you can clarify, that'd be cool. But who wants to do the elevator pitch? Hudson, not surprised.
So Roseville Bay, currently mortgage rates have gone up significantly, as you mentioned. And because of that, there's a large number of new homeowners looking to rent out their properties, and they're finding it really hard to find property managers. So because the current tools to find a property manager are pretty poor. There's Yelp, Zillow, Google, and you end up having like hundreds of pages of property managers, each with like 5 or 0 stars, and it's a pretty awful experience. So we kind of come in, and what we do is we match homeowners and property managers, and we flip the traditional dynamic on its head. Instead of homeowners looking and chasing down property managers, the property managers come to them. And this allows the homeowner to get the best deal possible, and allows them to save time and stress looking for a property manager, and allows the property manager to get access to way more customers. It can lower their cost of acquisition, and it allows them to pick what clients they want to pursue. So it's really a win-win for both parties, and because of that, we feel like we're a much superior service to traditional methods.
That's awesome. Okay, maybe a follow-up question. What is the revenue model? So Marshad talked about revenue. Who pays you?
Yeah, so our customers are the property managers. Our product is the homeowners. That's how we work. It's completely free to use for both homeowners and property managers. However, we charge property managers for verification, which will get them put higher up on lists, and it'll give them a verified tag. It'll make like their listing a different color as well, so they'll stand out more to customers, and they get access to better client customer data. So there's strong incentive for them.
It's amazing that you built conceptually this business that is really a platform that can scale. I mean, it's like Airbnb or any of these other platforms. Incredible. Do you have something to add?
So we
go ahead and speak in the mic a little bit. Yeah.
So we came up with this. Like the original thing was, I moved here from San Antonio, Texas, and my parents had a few properties there that we weren't there at all. So we didn't have the capabilities to manage them or anything. So we were trying to get a property manager. My mom in particular had a horrible experience, like going on Google, on Yelp, and all that stuff. So I was like, there's no way that's the only thing that we can do. So we came together. The original thing was like a ranking system, but we decided that was not a very good option. So we decided to attack the issue by itself, and that's how we came up with Rental Bay.
Prahlad, you want to add anything?
Nothing much. They said it all.
Okay. So what's the plan? Again, I heard that rumor. I confronted you before the show that I heard a rumor that you might actually continue and make this an actual business. Is that a rumor? Where does that rumor lie? We want to...
I didn't tell him anything, guys. So you must have got that from someone else.
Well, we're currently in the process of incorporating. It's not done yet, but it'll be there soon.
Are you doing like a C Corp, Delaware C Corp?
Well, at the moment, it's going to be an LLC but after that, we can make it a C Corp once we actually get like people just on both sides just coming in. But at the moment, I feel like an LLC is a better option.
Good.
We currently have a website. It's in the process of being. It'll be up in like 2 days.
It's 2 days.
Everything we built the website and everything. Well, the splash page.
There's like a wait list that we added. So if we're gonna start to do some outreach, we're gonna try and get some people to sign up for the wait list and to do this survey that we made to try and get some hype around the platform and things like that. So yeah,
I love it. Okay, anything else to add by anybody?
Not particularly. This is a great program. It was an amazing experience for all of us, I think.
Yeah, I connected them with an advisor that I spoke with for the first time yesterday. Superior intellect with that advisor, and they're helping them, with their launch. So I've got some confidence.
Yeah,
this is amazing.
Hopefully
Thank
we
you.
can take it to the next
This
level.
is amazing. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Okay, this one's going to be fun. Haley Garrett, who has been helping the Growth Factory, I guess, did you get discovered at Roseville Rising and then get brought in as an intern?
Right. So the whole process was I actually took an opportunity that our school offered a CTE internship program once you complete the business pathway. And so I connected with Mrs. Griffin, who does a lot of outreach with interns, and connected with me at the Growth Factory. And so I was actually able to learn about the Roseville Rising Program a few months ahead in December.
So you knew about it. You had the inside track.
Yes.
So tell us about your experience going through. You already knew some of us, at least a little bit. You knew Monique really well. But tell us about the experience, maybe the highs and lows of this 16-week journey.
Right. So I have to say, I think we've all come a long ways, because when you go into this program, no one had an idea on what they wanted to tackle, what it really was to be an entrepreneur. I think this was probably the biggest lesson. And so, I mean, I'm sure many people went through this, but you go 4 weeks, you choose a problem, and it's a big one, like remote worker disengagement or homelessness. And then you have to figure out what's the best way to narrow down to make it a niche problem. And so, I mean, personally for our team, we had 4 weeks of pivots where we didn't know what exactly we were going to do, what was the exact problem we were going to solve. And so that's 4 weeks of you're on like a sprint. I mean, the 16 weeks to build a company is, a very, very short time. So it took 4 weeks just to get to the decision, I guess. Yeah, exactly. And talking to all the mentors coming in, it was a very crazy experience, I have to say. But once we kind of go on the track, it was learning how to do customer validation. How do we meet the people? Then how do we wireframe a product? And so really this was a 16-week learning experience for sure. And I have to say thank you for having me, because this was an amazing time.
How has your perspective maybe changed? We had Sophia saying, now I think I want to be an entrepreneur, or maybe she is going to be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Has your perspective shifted at all in terms of like career pathing?
Absolutely. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do with my life, except I knew I wanted to be in business. And especially interning for the Growth Factory, learning how to invest in startups. I fell in love with the startup culture, and I plan on pursuing this space either in venture capital or as an entrepreneur.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting. Got me motivated. Okay, well, you motivated me at Mark Tank as well. You are one of the 3 winners, one of the 3-way tie. Would you be up for doing your elevator pitch?
I can do that, yes.
All right, let's do it.
All right, so the company we created was Co-Elevate, and we are about connecting remote workforces. This was inspired by the pandemic experience where I personally didn't know my teachers or my peers. I honestly didn't talk to anyone for 3 months. And so we realized that this is not a pandemic problem, this is an everyday problem, because remote workforces can undergo the same exact struggle when they're working alone in their home, in their apartment. They are unable to see their coworkers for long periods of time. And so with Co-Elevate, we are a platform that connects remote workers within the company using personalized results. So they answer a daily question, do a daily activity, and we kind of gauge their interests. They connect them with coworkers with similar interests.
Wow. So a big part of that is building, strengthening a culture of a remote workforce, because
Absolutely.
people become so disconnected and sometimes disengaged.
Exactly.
Yeah. So thinking about how you arrived at that problem, you already saw it as a problem. And then whose idea, because you built a team too, right? You have other members of your team.
Yes.
So in assembling that team, first of all, how did you come up with who's going to team up, right? You got a lot of high school students in one room. I went in there on that first day and I'm like, how are these all going to team up? And
Right.
Monique sort of did this little game where you broke up by, I don't know.
Snapchat versus TikTok.
Yeah, that's
Dutch
right.
Bros
Yeah,
versus Starbucks.
like who would get along with each other, and then then you formed a team. You have to actually make the decision who I want to be on my team, and so did your co-founders.
Yeah.
How did that? Walk me through that a little bit.
So I have to preface this. My best friend and I, Shervini, we actually came together a week before. We came up with a list of problems and met together. And we actually chose remote workforce disengagement as the essential problem. And so this was kind of a bonding experience for her and I to figure out what to do there. And so after looking at all the other teams pitching, it was kind of about what was the best problem to tackle and did we feel passionate about it. And so once we decided that, yes, this is something we wanted to do, we onboarded Nathan, and he was in my calculus class. So
running the smart guy, huh? We're a smart girl, calculus.
Hey, we're all very technical people, and so it was an awesome experience, and especially hearing how other teams formed and what their ideas were. It was about finding a problem that's most applicable.
Mm-hmm. Anything? So you've seen how this got made, being kind of have an inside track. Anything you would have us do differently in terms of putting this together? If you were to advise Mershad and Monique how we might want to, and me, how we might want to change it.
Yeah, and so I actually do have a little something. Was I love the shock of the pitch. So 2 weeks before, we had to practice pitch in front of the mentors, and before that was like a round robin pitch. And so I think that was pretty much essential to how serious I think everyone got when we realized, oh my gosh, this is happening soon. And so honestly, having that experience beforehand might inspire some people to really get on the project. And
okay. Instead of waiting until 2 weeks before the actual event, do that. Maybe have a pre-pitch a little earlier with a live audience and adults listening.
Yeah, but I think being an entrepreneur, the best way to learn is doing it. And so I don't know if everyone's going to pursue business or become an entrepreneur, but the greatest thing I took out of this program was how to take a no and how to turn that into something. Because we got told no, or let's say they don't really like this part, but what about this? And being able to pivot was such a big thing for most of the program, if not all of it. So learning how to take a no.
Learning how to take a no. Wow. Some lessons in there. Learn how to take a no. Best way to learn is by getting the game and try it and do it. Good stuff. Well, anything else to add to that?
All I want to say is thank you for having me. This was, I think this is the best learning experience of the year. So. Oh,
thank you. Great job.
Thanks, Haley. There you go.
And now we've got the co-founders of Career Compass. Why don't I have you guys introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your experience going through Roseville Rising.
So I'm Tirth Patel. I go to Granite Bay High School. I'm a junior. And I think it was just a really great experience for me. These 16 weeks, I learned a lot of stuff about how to like, make it like get your problem and make it an actual like solution. We spent a lot of time like perfecting our problem. I know we spent I think 4 or 5 weeks just doing the problem itself. And then we started pivoting and we started focusing on like the solution and how to really get the idea we had into like an actual like tangible thing that we could, pitch.
Yeah. Go ahead.
My name is Rochelle Tarvati. I go to West Park High School and I will be a senior this upcoming year. My experience with Roseville Rising has been mostly positive, actually all positive. Working with people I knew and working with people I also didn't know, we were able to create something that I'm especially proud of. I'm sure I can speak for my other teammates, but in such a short amount of time, the things we were able to create as a whole was really beneficial.
Yeah. Well, did you two know each other prior?
We did, yes.
You two knew each other, but the other people, some of your other teammates, you guys did not know. Well, tell me about that team dynamic. Did you develop a leader? Did one person kind of take over, or was it really, cohesive in terms of everybody contributing?
So I think I knew almost everyone on that team. So it was me, Rochelle, and another friend, and we sort of kind of signed up for this together, and we knew that we wanted to be on the same team, and we started discussing problems beforehand. And then we sort of set the problem on the table, and then we had other people join, and we sort of talked with them, discussed with them, and we didn't have like a leader of sorts. We just we like to listen to everyone's opinions about our problem, and we'd try to vote for like the best opinion, and we'd sort of implement that into the solution.
Kind of like a democracy. It was kind of a voting system.
Yeah, more or less.
I love it. Interesting. Do you think that's the best way to run a company?
I think it is, because you don't have like a sort of hierarchy, and people may not agree with that hierarchy, so it's just better to have let everyone have a voice.
Yeah. Any challenges in terms of the team? I mean, that sounds like a really cool way to get decisions made, but any internal butting of heads in deciding things?
Decision-wise, I think we were all on the same page. We did have our different opinions on topics, but we were able to resolve those fairly quickly. Our biggest problem as a team, however, was showing up. Although we had the biggest group, we had 8 people. At the start, we lost somebody along the way, and many people had their conflicts with their commitments, outside commitments. And I think that was one thing we lacked as compared to other teams. If we were able to solve that problem a little bit quickly and make Roseville Rising a commitment for the entire team, we would have got more done. But like I said, I am proud of what we got completed.
It's amazing how much that's like real business, is the commitment level. But I do have to say, and I heard this, from Monique, that we ran the program during a time that is extremely difficult for high school students, especially those of you that are, trying to achieve great grades and get into college and all these kind of things. Like part of it was over finals periods.
Yeah, one of them had a growth spurt that grew a foot during the session. It was insane.
Wow. Incredible. So, I mean, commitment is really difficult when you've got all these, if school is the priority, to make this also a priority can be a real challenge. But you know what? That's what we face in the real world too. We face commitment issues as we try to raise a business. Oh, my family's more important. Well, let's make a decision. Sometimes it's really difficult, and to do it all. And that's why, yeah.
Yeah, and I would say one of the unique characteristics about this team is with large groups, it's kind of difficult to make decisions, as we're pointing out, but this is what I call a self-healing team, in which if 1 or 2 members weren't there that week, they would come together and say, okay, let's try to come together. It's like a wound that sews itself up naturally. And I think the one thing that made these folks here really focus is tackling a beachhead. Whereas before, as we'll hear in their elevator pitch, it was a pretty broad market, or the pretty broad customer base. And then, I think the dictum to them was, all right, you got to focus. You got to find one specific customer to go after, and that will really kickstart your business better. So,
okay, I look forward to hearing it again. Okay, so who wants to do the elevator pitch?
I'll go for it.
All right, great.
So our company is Career Compass. We are an education platform. I'll give a little bit of insight on why we decided to tackle this issue. Well, the issue being education, and more specifically higher education, college focused. We noticed that a lot of college students, usually first year, second year college students, struggle with deciding what major or what exactly they want to do. It's a lot of uncertainty, and it also translates down to high school level. And we decided to tackle this problem by creating a platform where you can learn the things at your own pace. Whether you're a visual learner, a fast learner, or a hands-on learner, you're able to learn the things that you would learn in college or higher forms of education right at your house on your own personal device. I think that was a really important issue to tackle because there are statistics where there are so many people that are uncertain, and there's a lot of money wasted in changing your major, and we wanted to really focus that down to people where they're learning exactly what they want to learn and explore at their own pace without the risk of losing time or money. Like Mershad said, we decided to focus in on the beachhead of the medical field to begin with, and expanding as we go.
So you make your discovery by actually doing it at home online, and then you don't have to go and get a bunch of student debt and all this other stuff, and drive to the campus or move out of state to go test. You can test at home.
Yeah. What we mainly focus on is like careers. So we wanted to connect students with an expert working in the career. So let's say if we had a medical student who was like, kind of on the edge about like, should I go into medical? Should I go into another field? We'd connect them with like, let's say a doctor who's been a doctor for 5-10 years. And, they'd be on like a one-on-one Zoom meeting or in a Zoom meeting with like 15 other kids. And the doctor would share like little niches about his career and how he came to be a doctor, things that you can't find easily while doing a Google search. And they just be able to get that like personal connection. That way the student can be a little bit more sure if they want to go in the medical field or if they want to, pivot.
And it's also a reality check in what a doctor actually does day to day. It's not so much the glamour and glitz.
The doctors have to do things that most of us I wouldn't want to do. By and large.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so now is it going to turn into a business, or is it just a fun project? How did it change your perspective? I guess that's more than one question, huh?
So we've been communicating on Slack for a little bit now, and we're planning on making it like a full-scale business. So we have like a bare bones website on Webflow right now. So we're just focusing on developing that. We're trying to get sort of volunteers on so they can be our sort of experts in the field. So we don't have to pay them at first while we make some revenue. And once we start making some revenue, we're going to start actually bringing on more experts and start paying them and get that cycle going.
Okay, so you're actually going to take this to another level then. You're going to continue to grow.
Yeah.
Wow. Is one of your parents a doctor? Did I hear that? Or one of the teammates? No.
I think one of the teammates' parents is a doctor, and we have I think a plethora of sort of parents that are in different fields. Like my dad's a computer science major, and we have another one who's I think an engineering major, a doctor, other careers.
So you have some built-in expertise to kind of prove it out the model a little bit.
Yeah.
Yep. That's great. What's what are you most excited about in terms of building this? You guys doing this so you can get rich, or is this to change the world?
Our main goal is to help the people that really need it. We don't look at the profits that we make ourselves. We want to take the profits that we do make, the revenue that we do make, and we want to reinvest it back into our business by hiring more capable, more educated, you would say, experts to then, again, teach our customers, and it's just a cycle from there.
That's exciting.
And this came from a personal question mark that you guys had, what is the point of college? I mean, this is the problem that was true to you. And I remember in the first weeks, you guys were so adamant and so fervent, college is a waste of time, or college, what am I going to get out of it? And you boiled that, kind of personal into all right, how can we help others? How can we, help ourselves by helping others at the same time? So
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. How many of you are going to plan to go to college? Looks like everybody. Oh, all of you. It's unanimous. You're all going to college. So
how many of you want to go to college?
Yeah. How many of you want to go to college? Is that it?
All right.
Hopefully you're doing what you want. Yeah. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Really good job.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
You bet.
Thank you for the experience.
You bet. All right, and now we have our last entrepreneur, Elisa, is here to talk about Ruminize. But before we get into that, maybe just introduce yourself and tell us about the Roseville Rising experience.
Of course. So, hello, my name is Elisa, and I'm from Granite Bay High School. I just graduated, so going to college next year. I'm also majoring in business, and I think one of the most interesting things that I've heard is if you major in business, you don't know what you want to do in life. And part of it, when I first actually applied as a business major, it was I think I want to like it, but I'm not sure if I really like it. So this program really actually let me get a glimpse of what the business world is, what it means to be a business major, besides saying, yeah, I kind of like math, but I don't want to go into STEM type of type of interest. So it's definitely.
So now you're more confident in your decision to go to college. Where are you going to go?
I'm going to go to UC Irvine.
UC Irvine, all right. Okay, so in Roseville Rising, maybe just besides it solidifying your decision around college and where to focus, I mean, what did you like, what did you not like about the program?
Okay, so what I liked about this program was how we were actually introduced to so many experts in the field. There were people from marketing, people from operations managers, and we have Mashad over here. There's people that there's so many experts around us that we can actually ask and then actually get to interact with the business world. It's our first step into this business world through a local manner. So that was awesome. That was amazing, because there was no way I would ever be able to make the same connections as without this program. Some dislikes.
Nothing. Come on. We want to improve too.
Yeah. I think honestly the timing of this program was honestly not great at all. Yeah, I was running in and out between AP and IB programs or testing, so it was a disaster. And at the end of the program for me, it just felt like a lot.
Did it take away from your grades at all, or did you still get straight A's?
Oh, she got into a good school.
You got straight A's?
Yeah.
I never got straight A's in my life.
Never got an A in my life.
Yeah, I barely got an A. PE. Okay, you ready to do an elevator pitch?
Okay, sure.
Are you off the cuff? Here we go.
Okay, so Ruminize is about balancing mental health with online connections. So one of the greatest problems we found, or one of the hardest topics we've heard, is just a lot of teenage girls, we're going through social medias and we're just really hating what we see here, but we don't have anything else to look at as a model, so it's what we continue to compare ourselves to, and our self-esteem is lowering just by looking at what's on social media, all of this unrealistic kind of body expectations, or even just lifestyle choices that we can't exactly imitate, even though it's never even possible. So taking this humongous problem, and it's how can we turn it into an actual solution? How can we do it besides let's just quit using social media, because that's not a solution at all. So what we found was we're gonna go make a social media alternative. So it's gonna be a platform that's only shared between your closest members, so the people that you can truly be yourself with. You don't feel the need to go and try and be someone better. And so with this social media alternative, it's going to allow for breaks in social media. So it could just be go outside and do something fun. So these are just prompts shared between family and friends and you, just really establishing that connection, strengthening that connection, and while taking those breaks from social media without actually it feeling like a real break.
So is this more like a private social media platform? Is that a fair way to frame it?
Sure, yes.
Okay, so it's private. It's still social media in a way, or like social media, but it's private.
Yeah, you're not connecting to other people you've never seen before.
Yeah, it's focused on positivity. And, we talk about pivots. Elisa and Mira were the smallest team of the bunch. There were two folks, started out as three, and their problem from the very get-go was a very what we call a wicked problem. It's got so many interconnections and externalities that you can't control, so you can't really create something that will solve the problem back to its root cause. So they're thinking about body image problems and how we're just being feeling horrible by the effects of social media, and social media doesn't really care, to be honest. They're profiting off of this. So at first we were thinking, all right, is this going to be an ad campaign? Is this going to be an organization that's not necessarily a scalable business, but something that's kind of like a nonprofit. And we thought, all right, how do we, or they thought rather, how do we tap into a Facebook or a TikTok and track how much time you're in the app? And then they realized technically, they can do that, but I think the old adage is if you can't beat them, join them. And that pivoted into a social media platform, which right now the slipstream of wellness, something that they just went into. Apple just the other day announced their mental wellness efforts around a general app, and there's more and more focus around this. And they found renewed enthusiasm to say, all right, there's validation. Other folks are doing this, but let's do it better.
Wow. Well, you're tackling a problem that maybe some of us don't even think about most of the time, and but it's real. So congratulations.
It's just never talked about too. Yeah.
And
it's so personal.
You're being true to your problem. You want to tell us about the thought process around how you want to incorporate this, or how you wanted to you wanted to start as a nonprofit, and then you pivoted to.
Right. So because our problem was so like you said, it was a wicked problem. There was no way that we were ever gonna try to profit off of the people who needed it most. So we wanted to make sure all our services was available and free for every single teenage girl out there who wanted to use it. But then it came to profit, like how are we gonna make profit? How do we keep this platform running? So in the beginning, it was going to be nonprofit, but then we had to pivot into B Corp because we need the revenue to continue on. So as a B Corp, we are going to be still benefit focused. So that means we're going to put all our focus and make sure that our users are first before everything else. So if we do happen to use ads, those ads are going to be body positive. We're going to go through and make sure they are. And so on.
And it's also something that's investable, because if a VC or an angel investor heard nonprofit, probably going to run away. But if they hear B Corp, which, by the way, shout out to Al Moffat, our mentor, who introduced that topic. I didn't even know about it. If you go B Corp, you can balance the best of both worlds. Yeah. And we're seeing that's a new trend now.
What's B Corp stand for? Benefit Corp?
Yeah. So there are PB LLCs, public benefit LLCs, like Blue Sky, which is the new Twitter alternative. That's a PB LLC. And they do that so that profit is not the motivator in growth, but rather healthy user behavior, creating a co-op. REI is a co-op, for example. These are, I don't know what the structure is, but they're certainly putting profit first, but the definition of shareholders is their customers and their employees by far. And with a problem like this, you can't monetize off of, teenage girls who,
that defeats the purpose.
Who are being targeted. Exactly, defeats the purpose.
Wow. Congratulations, great job.
Yeah, good job.
Thank you.
Exciting, and congratulations on getting into UC Irvine too.
Thank you.
How did you choose UC Irvine?
It was the
LA, baby, LA.
The weather.
Yeah, I guess it was the best school I got into, so we're just going there for now.
All right, well, thank you very much. Welcome back to the Mark Haney Show. Consider me inspired when I hear high school students building businesses and doing it in such a short period of time and building concepts that are actually getting traction, taking on a life of their own. I am inspired. So thank you to the city of Roseville. Thank you for the Roseville Rising students, my teammates, for bringing this all together. And again, to all you out there fighting the good fight for our freedom, our security, and our way of life. And to all you fighting the good fight out there for entrepreneurship. We're never above you. We're never below you. Always by your side. Thanks for watching today's show. My goal for every episode is that you find a takeaway, something tangible you can use in your business today. And if you have a comment about a favorite takeaway, feel free to put it in the box below. And if you have a topic that you'd like me to bring up on the show, don't forget to let me know. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship. Because at Haney Biz, we are always by your side.